Cool, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with a very special guest today. And this man basically started Pornogrind, basically has kept it alive, and has essentially led the charge in its own right. And into how grind developed, we're going to find out. We're going to find out how Pornogrind developed, and so much more about Cemetery Rapist. The one, the only, Clay Lemanski. Hey, Clay.
Yeah. What's up, fool?
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm all right, man. How you doing?
Shit, man. It's been a great day. Busted my ass, but, gotta get back up, keep moving. Man, weather here has been brutal. I honestly, I hate it. It's kind of a pain in the ass of being in Illinois, and you know a good amount about Illinois, even though you're from Arkansas. Can you tell us a little bit about Rockford and what's that like up there?
Yeah. So I'm actually from Illinois. I wasn't born there. That's kind of its own story, but I was raised there and came up actually in Central Illinois. But when I got a little older, I moved up to Rockford, which is sort of like my unofficial home. Rockford's up in northern Illinois. It's one of the worst cities in the nation. At least it was when I lived there. I think it still is in like the top 10 for crime and shit per capita and all that.
What?
Yeah, man. But I loved Rockford, dude. Rockford was my spot. I mean, typical me. But yeah, dude, I miss Rockford every day, man.
Man, it's kind of ironic that that's also where I caught you live, and where I got my first, my cherry pops, so to speak, for Pornogrind. And man, it was fucking fantastic. Seeing you live was absolutely out of this world phenomenal. And
man, I appreciate that.
There was no recording. There was no amount of, because Zach is a pretty big fan. Zach is he's the co-founder to the Midwest Booking Collective, and that's the booking agency that he and I work together on. And he was like, dude, this guy's fucking insane. Like, you thought Sean was good, dude? Like, no, dude. Like, this guy, bro, like, I know you like 808s, dude. He's got 808s, bro. Like, it's fucking heavy. And I was like, a grind act having 808s, yes, I will drive 3.5 hours to see this shit. Yes, I will drive 3.5 hours back home. Absolutely. And dude, it's such a groundbreaking aspect for me personally to hear 808s in grind. Did that just kind of develop over time, or were you initially is that something that you heard back in 2004 and, in that time period that you kind of were like, fuck yeah, we need to do that shit?
Well, so my thing's kind of weird. I'm influenced basically 0% by metal. I didn't grow up listening to metal. I never did listen to a lot of metal. I still kind of don't listen to a lot of metal. I didn't know, like, when I came into music, I was so green, and when I found the underground, I found it by accident, and I just, to me, it was all just, my own influences, and so, to me, like, drops were rap drops. That's, like, where I came from. It's, I heard a couple 808s, in some songs. I can't, necessarily pinpoint, when or where. I won't, claim, that I thought of it, but I don't know, man. I
from rap, not from, the metals, because that's where I'm assuming that you would have gotten that kind of vibe from, is that more, the slam and the deathcore type scene, whereas rap's honestly a little shocking.
Yeah, so I didn't know what deathcore or slam or any of that was when I started Cemetery Rapist. I didn't know what any of it was, man. Like,
what?
All I wanted to do was I was focused on like a style of songwriting, man. Like, I wanted to write songs about fucked up shit, and I was looking around, for influences, kind of like in all the wrong places. And, that's what I mean when I say I found the underground by accident. Like, I stumbled on this stuff, just
like
trying to find...
specifically?
There was a festival. So I'm from Champaign, Illinois.
Hmm.
There's a festival put on by a guy named Matt Bishop, who is a great friend of mine, and he put on a festival called Central Illinois Metal Fest. And which, if anybody who was around for those days, they know that those were the fucking days, man. And that was a really, really top tier fest for those days. And Matt really brought out some incredible bands. And I saw a flyer for that show while I was at work. I worked for a furniture company, and I saw a flyer for that posted in a bar window. And I turned 18 maybe 5 days or something like that before the fest. And so I showed up, by myself. I saw all the logos, and I read all these, not all at the time, not all the logos I think were on the flyer. I think some of the band names were actually written out. And so I got to read some of the band names, and I was like, yo, these cats sound kind of like my guys. Dude, I was listening to Mariah Carey and shit. Seriously, let's be real. I grew up listening to R&B, same shit, whatever.
I mean, yeah, the mainstream of that time.
Yeah.
You've got
totally.
All of that shit's popping. Fucking Beyonce and shit is on. Jay-Z. This is prime Eminem time too. Makes sense.
So and then as I come up, I start listening to rap and stuff like that, and I turned kind of into the skateboard rat. And while I was skateboarding, I made some friends who kind of peer pressured me into playing music. That was the shtick. They all played in these bands, these metal bands, Soulfly and shit. That was their shit. I'm talking, bro, probably 2000, 2001.
Wow.
And all I wanted to do was skate, and they wanted to skate, but they wanted to play music, and we all wanted to hang out. And they're like, oh, come fuck around with our bands. And I'm like, nah, bro, I don't give a shit about none of that. I'm trying to skateboard, but you know what I mean? You do when you're 14, you just do whatever your friends do,
Yeah, did you catch any bad bruises from that shit, man?
Oh, I blew my brains out 100 times, bro. I mean, that's what it is, but yeah, man,
you're a true skateboarder. That's
oh yeah, oh yeah, I was a true skateboarder, and then and so they started, they played this metal stuff. They showed me, Slipknot and all that stuff. I was like, okay. But, and I was sort of just, I don't know, hem-hawing my way through that. And the whole time I was just like, man, does anybody, what do you guys think about writing songs about, eating kids and shit, And they're like, what? And we're 15, and these guys are just like, what in the fuck are you talking about?
Dude.
And that's what I'm saying when I say I found the underground by accident. Out of nowhere, I just wanted to write songs about feeding feces to people and stuff. It was totally organic. It just, and I know that sounds like some edgy, weird shit, but I'm a grown-ass man now, I don't know. It just is what it is.
And Clay, for the crowd, how old are you now?
I'm 37 currently.
So you have gone... Now you're almost about to hit 20 years, if I'm correct, right, as Cemetery Rapist.
Yeah, this July.
So that, you've seen this evolve, and you've seen grind also evolve. What has been kind of as you see grind get bigger and bigger and bigger, are you also seeing kind of Pornogrind also evolve with that?
No, Pornogrind got nuked. After this fucking idiot out in Ohio did this interview with Vice, which is fucking hilarious of all outlets or whatever, and he had a buddy that shot his sister and some people out in a bar out there in Ohio, and Vice got a hold of this kid, and he just grenaded the fucking genre. It's funny, everybody thinks I got canceled in 2017. I never got canceled, man. I write crazy music, but I'm not much of a crazy dude,
Yeah.
I don't have, there's not much controversy around me personally. It's just,
I mean, dude, that's also kind of the shocking thing, because when we were considering, when we first initially, Zach was like, dude, I want to book this guy. His name's Clay. His group is Cemetery Rapist, and he's fucked. All right. Just insane grind, just give me the rundown. I'm like, all right, Cemetery Rapist, fucking crazy. That's definitely, you hear it and your ears perk up. You're like, oh my God, okay. You're either going to go to the show or you're going to go and put up a protest for the gig, So I think it works. And I think that, because I initially was like, all right, well, let me check this guy out. What's going on? Because this is crazy. I've never heard of this type of shit. And clean as a whistle. You got interviews everywhere. There's 2 or 3 or 4 interviews that have been written up. But, there's, of course, nothing audio of you anywhere because you've been nuked to hell and beyond. So, I think I was like, this is great. I'm immediately attracted to this because it has been, it's almost been shunned away from me so much that I almost want it more.
Yeah, I hope that that's really the way that it plays out. It's such an uphill battle, So to give some context to that, in 2004, when I started Cemetery Rapist, that wasn't a controversial band name. And the songs that I was writing and the art that I was using and stuff, none of that was controversial for its time. And if you go back and look at some of those albums that came out, some of those real underground albums, especially those grind albums that came out from, 05 to 2010 or something like that, dude, they all sound, I'm not the only one, it's just that I'm the only one that stuck around till 2024. And now that I've stuck around, and I spent 5 years quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I've showed up, now it's controversial. So that's totally I feel like the controversy surrounding my band name and my song titles and all that stuff is merely a sign of the times. I never intended to be controversial. I only intended to be brutal. And I just picked brutal stuff to talk about, and so only now did brutal get mixed up with being controversial, and all of a sudden, Cemetery. I'm not a political band, I don't know what else to say, and so I don't see anything controversial with the word rapist. I don't think it's. I mean, dude, we're all adults. I'm not a rapist, clearly,
I think that's the perfect, Clay, I'm glad that you hit that on the head because I feel like people immediately when they see and read Cemetery Rapist and maybe they're a bit more further inclined, they go ahead and they just immediately, start associating you personally with bad stuff. And, either pedophilia or molestation or, all this specific stuff that you have talked about or signaled to in the music, people somehow want to reason that with the artist, and they can't really set aside, the art from the artist.
It's something that only happens in music, too,
Mm-hmm.
if you noticed. Nobody thinks that Eli Roth is making people eat their own shit. Nobody thinks that Stephen King is killing kids.
I mean, dude, George Corpse Grinder, like I mean, come on, the guy literally he loves to go to Targets, okay, spend vast amounts of money in Targets, okay, buy up tons of fucking sweet little dolls and shit to fucking donate them. I mean, the guy is just like. I don't understand, really like the perception with the mainstream media and most of general, when you have the normies, so to speak, when it comes to this extreme music, they know it's extreme music. They understand the aspect that, well, this isn't rap, this isn't hip hop, this isn't Metallica-esque rock anymore. Now we're in a whole other world. And there's absolutely seems to be, no sense of respect for that art is my main thing. And I fucking hate it, dude. I mean, it's one of the main things for me that I truly, really believe in is that art is art, and of that person cannot be liable for what his lyrics, and this is something as well that has been legally argued. And it's in law and it's gone as far as the Supreme Court that you cannot justify a person's lyrics as that person's actions. Now,
man.
granted, if you're going, literally, if you're saying some shit, right, and the feds got you on fucking tape, saying to one of your buddies, like, there's been rappers that literally did that, shit like that, but not in this context. It's not really applicable.
Yeah, if I only really I equate everything sort of on like an underground perspective, and that's just the way, how many guys are walking around, how many guys have As I Lay Dying shirts in their closet right now, or, how many pictures these fucking like political crust kids wearing haggis shirts, you know what I mean, while fucking dude is out, you know what I mean, spreading disease knowingly and stuff like that.
You got so many, there's a lot of groups, and there's a few of them that I can't really, I think one of them's like Belfagor or some shit, I don't recall, but it's like one of these Nordic guys that got fucking, he's in jail again. Which one of the Nordic metal fucking vocalists aren't in jail at some point?
They like it, man.
Like, dude, you could just pick them from a hat and be like, it's very likely.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like in 2024 and beyond, I'm too old to fucking like play the game with these fucking kids, and they tote the line. How many of these fucking kids, have hard drives full of fucking Viper music. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that was all fucking cool to listen to. And everything's cool and stuff like that. And everybody ignored him fucking posting his videos on his own page of him, touching girls that don't want it and stuff like, but I'm the problem. I'm the problem. And like I said, you can look me up, whether it be, look me up, bro. Look up my legal record, Google me. And that goes for everybody, man. Like, you won't find any incidents of me being off-putting, you won't find that shit. I don't fucking make people uncomfortable. All I want to do is play fucking music. That's all I want to do. That's all I've ever done for 20 years. And the idea that my band name or my song titles are somehow problematic in a world full of people actually doing shitty stuff, and we're talking about people in our scene, not people that can't be touched or can't be seen, but people in our scene actually doing sketchy shit that are actually racist, that are actually pieces of shit. Get out of here, man.
Listen, guys, this is coming from somebody that has sat outside and smoked a really fat fucking joint with Clay. He's just a really cool dude that loves smoking a lot of weed. All right, so, buy a ticket to the show and listen to some really jammy music, and bring a joint and smoke it with him, and, he will smoke it with you, all right?
Grind is fun, dude. Grind is supposed to be fun.
Dude,
I never put a fucking, I never threw the horseshoe in that ring, bro. Like, it's fun. I'm here to have fun, so, like, I don't really, have fun. Come be friends, bro.
Mm-hmm. You've came now into the scene with modern day social media, and, you've got all of this shit where people are so much more closer now than ever. Back in the day when you first started off, I imagine the main hate that you were getting was actually at shows, and was from promoters, and was from, venue owners, and the occasional fan possibly. But now you have fucking dudes in your pocket. Every time you can open up your social media, dudes can shit talk you. What's that been like for you?
It's different. I'll be honest, like, a lot of the issue that I have now, I don't mind people talking shit, like, online. Dude, the internet's the internet. I spent half of my life, around before the internet existed, so I don't really, it's something I can really, when I put my phone down, that bitch is gone. It don't come in my world. So the main bothersome things, the only thing that bothers me currently is like the booking issues that I have. Years back, I never heard anything from a venue owner. Everybody thought my band name was hilarious. It is fucking hilarious. It is hilarious. But only now do I have guys, and this is what I get more than anything, like, hey, I don't have a problem with you, but if I do this, it's going to be bad, so I'm not going to do it. And I hear that constantly, dude. I'm not going to blow guys up, but dudes, I've had some of y'all's favorite bands hit me up. Let's do a split, and then hit me up a month later, be like, hey, no split. Turns out that's not gonna work. You know, it's just so I get that's the thing that's annoying to me the most. Like, if you want to rock with me, rock with me. If you don't want to rock with me, don't rock with me. I'm cool with all that stuff. But like, it's like, I don't know. I used to tell everybody that I'm your favorite band's favorite band, and like, it's getting a little old. I wish they just rock a T-shirt. You know what I mean?
I mean, hey, you've been, you know, going straight through this shit DIY booking yourself, right?
I book everything that you see done with my name on it. I do completely by myself. Yes.
So, have you ever considered having that extra help from either management side or a booking agency?
I would love to pay somebody to help me. I would be happy to give up 10% for somebody to help me. It's not happening. It's not happening, bro. You booking agencies won't touch me with a 10-foot pole. Fucking management and stuff. Like, I've talked to all of them. I mean, I not only have I talked to all of them, bro, I've been around a long time. I know most of these guys. Like I've known most of these guys for a long time. And it is super cool. They are super cool to sit down, have a drink, smoke a blunt, all that shit with me. But they will not do anything business related with me, not even close.
Yeah, I definitely understand what that relationship can be like. Then that's fucking soul crushing, dude. But you know, one of the biggest things that you fortunately have in this world is just an endless abundance of people that just sometime sooner or later the right person comes along or the right people come along, and you know, you got to keep trucking through that shit, and eventually that time comes. Eventually your time comes. And man, one of the most beautiful things for me really is just seeing the resurgence of all the small grind scenes and the small metal scenes and the deathcore scenes and slam and all of the music that really wasn't possible to come out and flourish years ago. You know, now you're having bands like Slaughter to Prevail, huge, Lorna Shore, huge. All of these bands that, you know, Ice Nine Kills supporting Metallica, shit like that is just absolutely mind-blowing for me. And I think really the now is truly the up and coming, the resurgence of these music scenes, mostly because people are starting to get oversaturated in the rap scenes and in the other scenes. So they're starting to kind of want to branch out. And it just so happens usually when you branch out from those main type of branches, you know, whether you were just listening to rock or the Metallica-esque type people, you know, you start branching out to different shit. And on the more extreme side, you know, whether it's from rap, you go to Ghostmain, or whether it's from rock, you go to something very similar to like Disturbed, or maybe you go to Slipknot, and then you slowly start turning the knob. And so I think that's going to apply quickly, and it's happening in my opinion now, because you have bands like Esquilla Grind just absolutely blowing up. And granted, it's also because people love fast shit. So I think, you know, you've been doing this for a while, dude. You know, I think it's definitely now, granted, it's way different times from back then, but now it just grinds so much. You know, there's so much more bands is what I'm trying to say, basically.
Yeah, you know, the whole, like, you hear that argument a lot about the good old days. You know, you always hear about the good old days and stuff like that. And dude, that's all fucking something old people say, bro. Listen, creativity's in the hands of the young people, and it always has been. Yeah. You know, and what I like about the resurgence in all these little scenes is, like you were saying, is, you know, when I went out over this past year, you know, I made my comeback this past year and started playing shows in March. And every time I went to these shows, it was just incredibly refreshing because there's so many young people, bro. So many young people. And for so long, it seemed like it was just like the 30-something crowd that was at the death metal shows, the real underground shit, you know. And, you know, it's incredibly refreshing to see, you know, an 18-year-old that likes Dying Fetus. Mm-hmm. You know, those guys have been around for 30 fucking years. You know what I mean? They've been around for fucking ever, you know, and they're making and they're crushing, and they're making new fans, you know, and that's what's incredible. You know, a lot of the, new metal stuff, whether it be my style or not my style. I have a huge respect for these bands that are getting out and they're work. I tell people I know what hard work sounds like. I know what hard work looks like. And whether these bands are my specific style or not, man, they're putting in the work. They're putting the miles on the vans and they're putting the hours in on the instruments, and it's showing. And it's showing, and it's working out. And these guys are, there's just over the past couple years since the end of all that fucking COVID bullshit. You've seen a lot of these newer bands kind of pop up and get big in the underground. And I mean, these guys are working, man. And it's just incredible to see. It gives me great hope for the future, for sure.
And I think that one of the best things to come out of COVID really was people being able to get more time to themselves and build all of these bands, Like so many of my favorite bands have come out of COVID. It's absolutely fucking crazy to think about. And most of your favorite bands most likely have come, like the up and coming, probably I'd imagine, in all honesty, Sleep Token possibly was invented through COVID. Just a bunch of bored people in the same room doing shit.
My comeback was partially because of COVID,
What?
And just being able to sit around and watch the world stop for a second and stuff. And, I had some things go on in my personal life over that time. And it's kind of a, reawakening, as to what's really important to you. And
like a spiritual reawakening almost.
Yeah, kinda. And for a long time, when you're young and you start a band, you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. You're like a caveman, you're just banging two rocks together. You're 18, you know what I mean? Like, and anybody who's even, you could be 25 and be like, yeah, I was an idiot when I was 18. It's everybody now. I started Cemetery Rapist when I was 18, banging two rocks together, man. I never touched a guitar. I didn't know what a drum machine was. It was nothing, And over COVID, like I said, I laid down for 5 years. I had some things go on in my personal life starting in 2017, and I kind of, took a step back from music. And I kept playing music, personally, but I took a step away from Cemetery Rapist and playing shows and all that. And I had a lot of time to really just like think about it and kind of as a new, different, older dude, for music to, and not just, music, but for underground grind to become to become repassionate about it, to become reinvigorated by the idea of doing it again, just like it was when I was 19. It was incredible, and I don't know if that would have happened without COVID. So it is what it is.
It sounds like you kind of got burnt out over time.
Well, in 2017, I had a lot. Well, I hate to say this stuff because it's so silly, but this is the truth. In 2017, what happened was Donald Trump started running for president, and everything fucking became political. Okay, and he ran before that. Well, I don't know. Whatever. Get my ears together. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a political guy. So run with me. It wasn't 2018.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Right.
Nobody cares.
2017, this fucking weirdos running around talking about walls and all this fucking bullshit, and all of a sudden, overnight, it seemed like in America, everything became political. And so I had a tour booked, and I bet I had 8 dates canceled. And I had a couple promoters contact me and say that there were people that were sending them death threats. And I had never experienced I had never experienced anything like that. This is the first time, like I said, up until 2017. So from 2004 until 2016, I had been releasing music, booking shows, like nothing was going on. I played overseas. There were no issues, no complications. I was not a controversial band. I wasn't, all my stuff was on Bandcamp, it was on streaming services, everything was fine. And then the whole, the world becomes politicized, and then that fucking shooting happens out there in Ohio by that kid who messed around with a couple guys who played in bands out there.
Oh,
They
shit.
did that Vice interview, and so after my tour got canceled, within I want to say within a few weeks, that shooting happens.
Wow.
And within a week of that shooting happening, that motherfucker does that interview with Vice, and runs the word Pornogrind, to a community who had never heard it before. And within like the next weekend, it was within a week, all my Bandcamp stuff was gone, all my big cartel stuff was gone, all my streaming services stuff was gone. Everything that was Cemetery Rapist had been deleted from the internet.
Jesus.
And I was so fucking bummed, dude. I was so fucking bummed. Within a few weeks of that happening, my lady that I'm not with currently, but we were together for 11 years, she got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh,
So I had to take a break, man. I had to take a break.
Like it.
And in the midst of that, I was also flipping houses down here in Arkansas, so I was incredibly busy.
That can be kind of busy, doing fucking shit with houses. Is that what you do now, if I may?
So not exactly. The market kind of got crazy, and I don't have the big bucks to hang with these California fucking guys coming in and buying up whole neighborhoods and stuff like that. But
Damn.
I was able to secure myself a nice home and pay for it in cash, and that's really all I wanted. I never really wanted
That's
to
awesome, dude.
make a living. I just wanted to carve myself out something so that I could live, at least for the rest of my life.
Fuck yeah, man. That sounds awesome, dude.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So you have all this free time during COVID. Is that when you get some of these, side projects pumping out?
No, I had the side. So the side project thing in me is like deep. I started my first side project in '06, and I can't even. I bet I've had 10 over the years, and I think maybe 4 of those have been with other guys. And then, so I currently have 6 one-man projects that are active. And
how many of those go live?
Play live, just Cemetery Rapist.
Wow. And is there any plan for those to go live at some point?
So I have one of my projects is called FRSS. And I get a lot of
fecalized rectal sperm spewage, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A couple made-up words there. Don't shock my style. But yeah, I've had offers to play FRSS. I've had overseas offers to do FRSS live, and I don't know. We'll see. But I was gonna say I ain't getting nothing but older, so. I don't
you
know.
You gotta just do it, dude. Just pull the trigger.
Maybe. At some point, it's just like, holy fuck, a man can only do so many things for you. Just gets fucking tired, man.
Yeah, that's also something that I wanted to talk about, man. With having this large amount of projects, this large amount of lyrics, large amount of tabs, and timing and tempo changes and all of this shit. What does happen someday when you do decide, I want to play this live? Do you just pull out your iPod with all this stuff downloaded on it, run through it? How does that work?
So the behind the scenes of my projects is it's got to be chaotic. I don't really, like I said, I don't have a lot of I don't keep a lot of people, so I don't have a lot of friends and shit like that. So I've never really showed anybody what it's like, over here. But this stuff is broken down to, I can break all this stuff down to individual drum tracks, to individual guitar tracks. I can break down the tempo maps. This stuff is the bones of all this shit. It didn't used to be like this, but
so like that's something you grew into as the times went on.
Well, yeah, back in '08, there was only so much technology. You know what I mean? There were only so many. Now it's hard to explain to somebody that it's like, yeah, there were 2 drum programs. You pick one. And
yeah, I remember Sean saying that there was only 1 drum program when he started, and that's the one he used it for like fucking eons, if I recall. Like he just recently upgraded it, if I recall.
Yeah, he just recently. Yeah, I just got done giving him shit for that actually the other day. I was just giving him shit for it the other day. Yeah, he actually played with a mini disc live for fucking until like 2014. I was like, Sean with the mini disc, bro. But
sounds good.
I bet some of the kids listening to this are like, what the fuck is a mini disc? They don't even know. And I bet when you Google it, you won't even find exactly.
No, there won't be.
Some fucking ancient shit, Yeah, so technology had to catch up here. Technology had to catch up, and it wasn't until, it wasn't until really about the time I quit that it did catch up. So I never really quit playing music. That's the thing that people don't really understand. Everybody thinks I just like got sick of music and like fucked off for 5 years. I don't know what people think, but no, man, the 5 years I was gone, I played music the entirety of all that stuff. I learned programs, I learned different DAWs, I learned, all kinds. I'm a real big fan of just like learning shit.
The old dog learned new tricks. That's
man.
What was happening here.
Yeah, dude.
He had to catch up. It happens.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's nice to catch up and stuff like that. But,
so,
now...
that's all, like, you have 2 DIs, and now you have, like, a billion fucking choices of programs that you can do. What was that? Like, how did you make the decision to be like, all right, this is the DI we're going to go with now?
Oh, I got all of them. I tried all of them. Yeah, it's literally... I mean, I can't... I've used every drum program. Like, it's ridiculous. I've tried so much dog shit. Any VST that's free and worth a shit, I have it.
Any shout-outs you can give some of the drum nerds out there?
Give away all my secrets. But that's I told myself too that part of the reason why I did come back was to give away my secrets. I don't want when I was young, I wish somebody would have helped me out. I did have a few guys help me out. So okay,
Clay, that's definitely what this is for, man. Because you're truly, and this is something that I've also spoken a little bit with Sean, is that you guys are really kind of forebearers when it comes to doing one-man band stuff. So using DIs and all of that, in my opinion, is something that you guys really do have the most knowledge on. Making it sound good and which is the best one, and those kind of questions I really feel are things that you guys really do have expert knowledge on. So absolutely bless us with that knowledge, man.
So, like, if I were to go download drums right now, there are 2 programs in particular that stick out. One's going to be Steven Slate. Like, it's just got one Steven Slate. Is Perfect Drums, and both of those programs, the interface on those is just super. It's really vast. I mean, you can really dig into those programs before you ever have to touch them with external. With anything external, before you ever touch the snare with any compression or anything like that. I mean, you can really break into these things and tune these things the way you want them. You could use one program for 6 different projects if you wanted to. They've got that amount of just playability. I know a lot of people use Easy and Superior and stuff, and that's dope. I haven't really looked at what those cost. I think they're a little expensive.
And are these guys also expensive?
No, so everything I use everything I use to this day is budget. I can't stand by like the budget, like none of us should be spending top dollar. Dude, nobody out here is producing Mariah Carey, right? Like there are no Celine Dion CDs going out on Comatose, like it's really, dude, at the end of the day, and engineers will understand this, like, there's only so much space on a track for so many fucking blast beats and hammer-ons and gutturals and, you know, all that stuff. Like, dude, if you are a bedroom producer and you're spending top dollar on shit, stop it, man. Sell that shit. Get some Behringer shit, bro. For fucking sake, man. Like, you know what else? Buy your VSTs on, just make a list of everything you want and buy everything that you want between Black Friday and Christmas.
Yeah.
It's all half. I seriously will.
Software-wise, too.
Yes, yes, exactly. I buy all that bullshit, like, 5 days out of the year. And it's all between fucking Black Friday.
Genius, dude. Super saver, bro.
Facts, bro. Dude, that's the thing, like, at the end of the day, I'm still fucking poor as shit, you know? Like, we're all poor as shit, let's be real.
Yeah.
You know, nobody listening to this is, like, balling. You know what I mean? Like, so,
you're gonna have, like, my one listener in a fucking jet over, like, Argentina being like, whoa, buddy.
It's like, whoa, but no.
Calm down, dog. Speak for yourself.
Yeah. No, Steven Slate's like $79. You know, I think Perfect Drum's $100. You know, $100 will get you a fucking drum program, bro.
It's a very good drum program, right? That's live worthy, studio worthy.
Top tier, man. Top tier. It'll you know, you'll spend more time. It'll take you 2 albums to learn all that those programs have to offer.
And is that something that you're speaking from experience too? Like, did it take you that long as well for you to kind of get the hang of all this?
My learning curve is a little different just because I've been at it for fucking so long. I feel like I'm talking to the like I feel like most of the time when I'm talking to the guy who's just like, you know, a couple years into it or something like that. You know, anybody that's, you know, 6 or 7 years into the game, they're already, you know, getting set in their ways and think I'm an idiot. You know.
So, like, per se, when you started Violate the Decomposing and, you know, your daughter's twat filled with my cock, those two going into, like, Filthy Four-Way Fuck Factory, those, you know, the DI changes from there, were you just kind of upgrading as you went, or were you using the same equipment throughout the year?
Dude, all that stuff, I only have, this is gonna be wild right now. I'm gonna say some shit right now. Kids I only have one album that doesn't use an actual, like, drum machine. So when I was a kid and I went out and bought a drum machine, I went out and bought the cheapest one you could. It was readily available. That was what it really was. Then it's called an Alesis SR16. Throw that into Google, young ones. An Alesis SR16. It's a little box with a bunch of buttons. Them kids are going to look at that and be like, what in the fuck is this thing? And that is used on every Cemetery Rapist album except Plundering and Vaginal Demolition.
Huh.
And the ancientness of that thing is beyond repair. It's just ridiculous.
So are you using the same equipment from Plundering on the new stuff?
No, Plundering was Easy Drummer. I had a stolen copy of Easy Drummer. You know, it was torrented. Yeah, I had a torrented copy of Easy Drummer or whatever.
Nice.
And I did Plundering with that. That was the first album that I used MIDI on. And then I put out like a couple songs on a split after that, and then that was sort of the last music I released. So that's what's funny. Like, it's been a long time. I'm really anxious to get the new Cemetery Rapist album out because all my albums are recorded with 2004 tech. You know, it's just like, fuck, man.
We've been waiting.
I'm absolutely, like, I cannot tell you how, like, flattered and appreciative I am that I have fans, bro. Like, I'll listen to that old shit and be like, bro, this sounds so old. You know, it sounds like '05. It's just like, ah, damn.
I mean,
you know,
that's like the specialty of that shit, because like you jam all that shit, where you came from, and then you go and you slip from my puddled phallic drip into the fucking player, or you hit start on that shit, and then you got what's the new drum shit that you're using on the new what's some of the new equipment that you're using on the new stuff compared to that plundering equipment?
So on my the new album, I use Perfect Drums for Cemetery Rapist. I just love that program. It's got a sampler. It's got a sampler built into it, and I am a whiz with L sampler, so I like that for Cemetery Rapist. I use that. I use a Mooer GE250 for my strings, and it's all still amp sims and cab impulses, like everybody else. And really, I don't know why anybody's micing cabs anymore. That's fucking crazy. What are you, Slayer? I mean, seriously, amp sims and cab impulses are the best thing to ever happen in music. Like for years, fucking guitarists were like, how am I gonna record my fucking shit? And then one day you could just do it in your closet,
Direct plug.
It's the best, dude. It's the best.
Oh man. So your basic is that? So it's the same equipment pretty much from plundering.
Plundering. So I'll hit you with another one. You guys ready for this one? All my guitar on every recorded Cemetery Rapist album from, let's say, I think it's from Children of the Porn on, is recorded with a Line 6 bean, a pod. You know what I'm talking about? The fucking little maroon bean.
What?
Yeah, all of it.
Beam?
Yeah, the bean, bro. The bean, the fucking pod, like the Pod XT or whatever it is.
Oh my god!
I've
never heard of that.
Every fucking bit of guitar is recorded on that. So even plundering and stuff like that, like it's all recorded with that fucking pod. People were like, "What the fuck?" But I just got
Wait, is that the big the fucking red thingy? The big red fucking?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah, man. Yeah, I bought that thing. It was like, I think I bought it in '06. When it was like,
wow,
and it was the hot shit on the market, bro.
Wait, it's fucking still fucking kicking it, dude?
No, well, I mean, I'm sure it's in I have all my old gear. It's in a box somewhere and stuff like that. I'm not using that.
Dude, you probably get fucking mint for that shit.
Yeah, I'll probably pull it out and use it on a Gore Noise project one day.
Man, that's. So are you still running guitars and all of that from back then? How have you progressed through your guitars? Have you ever came into any fucking really just horrible fucking guitars that you've had to play with?
So I'm the worst musician too. I'm not much of a gear guy. So in the entirety of Cemetery Rapist, in the entirety of my music career, I've owned 2 guitars. And one of them I play. One of them's the Epiphone that's in all my pictures and that I still play.
Wow, that's fucking wild, dude. And you're just, I mean, I'm assuming you're a master of maintenance. You got to give us some tips, man. How do you baby these things over 15 plus years?
Oh, I don't baby that. That thing. If you saw the case for that thing, you'd be fucked, bro. That thing's been through TSA.
I mean, most cases are fucked. Let's be honest. How's the body?
Oh yeah, I mean the guitar is fine. Yeah, the guitar.
That's what I'm saying. Give us some of them tips on, are you cleaning this thing every week? What's going on?
No. Maintenance is for nerds, dude. I play grind. I mean,
just chug, dude.
Yeah, I mean, buy a nice guitar once, buy it once. I see there's a lot of dudes I know. I got their fucking walls lined in guitars and stuff like that. It's like, that's cool, but they also, I don't know, bro. Like I said, part of it's too the way that I view finances and financial literacy and stuff like that. I don't understand dudes who have like a wall of guitars and then credit card debt.
No,
That's
fair.
fucking insane. Or you got 5 guitars and a car payment.
Take care of what you got to take care of first.
Yeah, that stuff don't make sense. I don't pay interest. I don't make millionaires rich. That's not what I do, you know. So
Man,
priorities, bro. Priorities.
Man.
My priorities went to real man shit, not little boy shit. So.
Yo. Man, so, you know, being around a long time from 2004, something I noticed that I just found really interesting was that one of your first, like, openings to Grind specifically was seeing Sean Fugit Prile live.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so you're going from seeing, you know, or not seeing, but hearing and listening to Mariah Carey and this kind of stuff, and then you go and see Sean. What was that like for, you know, you would have been 19, 18?
I was 18. Well, that was the interim. So like I said, that was like, to go back, like when I was a little skateboard rat and all them kids started like peer pressure me to, you know, to play in their little bands. You know, they all listen to metal.
Fucking Grind, loser.
They all listen to like I don't even know, you know, normal shit, Korn, Slipknot, Soulfly, you know, that type of shit. You know,
yeah, Megadeth.
You know, this is like, you know, like I said, it's like 2000, 2001. And so, you know, that was my first interaction with metal. So I'm, you know, what am I, like, you know, 15 or something like that, you know. And then, like I said, over the next, like, between that and like me graduating high school. So I graduated high school a year early. Just said fuck that shit. And so I graduated in 03, met them kids in like 2000. So, you know, from 2000 to 03, you know, I found like other bands, you know, Pantera and shit like that. But like I said, in that interim of time, I just had determined that I liked the music thing that was going on, and that I wanted to write songs about fucked up shit. And like,
so you were getting to kind of the point.
Yeah,
I want to do one man band stuff already.
No, I had no idea. I had no idea, dude. Like I'm just like literally, I have no idea what's going on. Like it's so difficult to explain. I do not come from metal. So in 2003, I have never touched a guitar. I've never turned the button on an amp. Like I've never touched an equalizer deck, nothing. So I was a drummer. So that's all I did.
So that because I know that you do some drumming, and you, as far as I know, you've done some work on your own albums.
Yeah, I do the drums on my side projects. Like
that's fucking awesome, dude. So you've kept going at it over the years, essentially.
Oh yeah, I've always played drums.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. But that's how they peer pressure me. They're like, we need a drummer, and I'm like, I skateboard. And they're like, we need a drummer, and I'm like, I skateboard. And they're like, well, bro, come hang out, you know. And I buy a drum kit off of fucking, you know, Craigslist or whatever. It was no Facebook at the time. So, you know, out of the newspaper or whatever, I think even it was. I bought a drum kit for $100 and, you know, play these shitty fucking, you know, Soulfly songs or whatever like that with my friends while I'm trying to go skateboard. And yeah, over the next 3 years, I determined that I want to write songs about fucking, you know, killing people and shit, which is kind of random, kind of comes out of nowhere. I mean, I'd always been kind of a horror movie dude, so I don't know, whatever.
So you've always been into gore and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, is that something you prescribe specifically to, or are you also kind of like a comedy guy, action guy? Because I know most folks that end up being into horror or gore, that's all that they're into, you know?
Yeah, no, that's not me. I like everything, dude. I'm cool with all that shit. But especially like movies, big movie fan, all that stuff. But yeah, man. So I had quit playing music with those kids, like I said, like 02, 03, because they were bummers. And I'm like, let's write songs about killing people. And they're like, you should probably get out of my mom's You know, it's literally that. You know, it was just like one day to the next. Well, you know how we're in high school. You know how teenagers are. It's fickle. You know what I mean?
Just like imagining this, like you just finished playing Say It Ain't So, and you're just like, guys, do you ever just like want to write songs about massacres?
Dude, it was kind of literally like that. Like it was kind of literally like that. Like it would be like we'd play a Korn cover and then we get done, you know, and I'd make like a joke about something that, you know, would probably wasn't that funny, but you know, and then they just be like, bro, what's your, you know, hey man, you ever thought about what like the inside of kids' heads look like? You know, or what, you know, or just something stupid, you know what I mean? Like, hey man, you know, just whatever, you know.
You were just unfulfilled, man, you know.
Yeah. I was just unfulfilled. And that's what I mean. So like I graduated high school early because I was, you know, I just did, and I was poor, bro, so I had to go straight to work, you know. Like I had my own apartment when I was 17. So when I graduated high school, I was already living on my own, and I had to go to fucking work. You know what I mean? So like that's all I was doing, bro. I fucking, you know, that was like my life. I just figure I'm just some little fucking towny, you know, white kid, whatever. And while I'm at work, yeah, I see that flyer for this 2-day death metal festival, and I'm reading band names, you know, like Lust of Decay and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is that? You know, but I'm like, man, it's kind of dope, you know, like that sounds
hard, yo.
like a lot, you know. I'm like, wow. So yeah, I showed up to the fucking fest by myself, you know. I sat from the opening day one. I stayed from the opening band to the last band, and I'm like, man, this is. I hadn't, dude. You have to understand, bro. Like, I go from Korn to like blast beats. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I went from like being a very casual, and we're talking about listening to Korn in between me listening to like other shit, you know.
Yeah,
like,
so you weren't even habitually into Korn, you know.
No, like I'm only listening to like Slipknot and shit when my friends are in the car.
Yeah,
when they're
you were
not
still
in the
like,
car.
yeah, it's cool, it's alright.
Yeah, when they're not in the car, I'm still listening to like Wu-Tang and shit.
And now
you know what I
hear
mean?
this
Like,
and you're like, oh, dude, this.
And then I show up.
This is my shit.
Yeah, exact, bro. I show up to that fest. I'm like, this is fucking sick. I was like, this is like the people. It was just wild, you know. Like I was like, I was like, this is sick. The whole time I'm sitting like in the balcony of this fucking place by myself. I'm like this little baby 18-year-old kid, you know. But here's where the story gets good. I stay all day one. I'm tired as fuck, but I go home back to my little shitbox apartment, and I'm like sort of bummed though, because it's like, man, I want to get in on that, you know, like I want to have a band like that, but bro, there ain't nobody around me that's down. Everybody around me wants to fucking play Soulfly, right? So I'm like, fuck, yeah, you know, so I'm kind of bummed, you know what I mean? Like I'm stoked on what I just saw, but I'm kind of bummed because it's like, oh, I want to be a part of this, and I don't see a way, you know, I don't see a way to do so. And so day 2, I kind of like lazily got out of bed, you know, lazily showered, shit, just kind of showed up to the show whenever, you know, like, you know, I missed a couple bands, whatever, and I showed up just in time to see Putrid Pile. And I was, dude, I'm telling you what, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. You know, I'm like, how am I hearing, it's literally, it's like, how am I hearing drums? There's no drummer. Like, but how am I hearing drums? You know, it's literally like that. I mean, it's like, what the fuck is happening? And dude, this is, God, what year is this, bro?
That would have
been 04. Yeah, this is 04. This is 04. So you got to think at the time, even Sean is pretty new. Okay, Putrid Pile is a new band, and like, so he had this. There was a buzz around him, you know, because he was a one-man band, and there were none of those, bro. Nobody was doing it. It was just him. It was only him, okay? And like, I was just like, dude, I mean, talk about right place, right time, bro. Talk about right place, right time. I stayed for a couple more bands, but my head was just in the clouds. I fucking left the fest right there. It was a Saturday, okay? I fucking left the fest right there, go down to my local music store, and which is just, dude, like 5 blocks from the venue. And I walk in, I'll never forget this dude, man. He was this big, fat, older dude. He was like bald, but he had like a ponytail in the back. Fucking hippie dude, whatever. Typical music store cat. And I'm like, bruh, I just seen this cat. He was doing this thing. He had drums playing and no drummer. What's the fucking deal? You know? That's literally, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I bet. And he pulls out that Alesis SR16. He's like, this is what you need. I'm like, cool. You know? And bro, I took that bitch home and like I plugged it in and it turned on. I couldn't get sound out of it. I'm like, what's going on? Like that's how green I am, bro. Like that's how new to me. That's how new to the whole. I'm like, why can't I get sound to come out of this box? Bro, I don't know what cables are. Nothing. You know, I don't know how amps work. Like that's literally how I started Cemetery Rapist.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So Sean, essentially, that was the spark where you're like,
Sean,
fuck, I gotta do it.
Yeah, Sean gave me life, for sure.
Fuck yeah, dude. And so what's it like? I mean, fucking, you know, almost 20 years later, you're playing with him at a festival.
Oh, we're friends. I mean that's you know, we would say that to people openly. So he's from not too far away from me. He's from Racine, Wisconsin, of course. And when I moved up to Rockford, you know, it's not that far away. We've played a lot of shows over the years. You know, we've one time he surprised me in an airport playing a fest together overseas. Like, you know, just crazy shit. Like he just showed up like in the terminal. He's like, I'm on the same plane as you. It's like, what the fuck, you know?
Dude, he's
and
such a fucking great guy, man.
Yeah,
like,
man. Yeah. I'll never forget. I played a show. I don't remember how. This was a long time ago by now. It was probably 2014 or something like that. Maybe even before that, 2012. I don't even remember where, you know, how it all kind of meshes together, but it was a shitty show. I remember that. It was it was kind of a lame show. And we were in a hotel together, and there was some no good antics going on in the hotel, in this hotel room. It was kind of bad vibes, you know? And you know, we were just kind of sitting around dealing with it, and you know, Sean is kind of, for people who don't know Sean personally, he is beloved. You won't find anybody who doesn't absolutely love Sean. Mm-hmm. He is the complete opposite of me. So he like, if you hate me, you'll love Sean. He's a ray of sunshine. He smiles all the time. He's happy and helpful. And you know, he's just a sweet man. He's just a sweet man. And so he comes over with this goofy fucking smile on his face, and he sits next to me. I'm in the chair in the hotel room having my little pity party because I'm having a bad time, and everybody knows. Anybody who knows me knows when I'm having a bad time. Everybody, I make it well aware. And so I'm having my textbook bad time in the corner, and Sean came over to me, man, and he kind of like hits me with an elbow. He goes, "Hey, man. You know, you're one of us now." And that's probably my most heartfelt moment to this day.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah. You're one of us now. I was like, fuck, bro. It's all I ever wanted. You know what I mean? It's like all I got is this little underground shit. You know what I mean? I'm not cool or fucking, you know, I'm not popping. Like I wasn't popular in school. Like I am nobody from nowhere. You know, I am nobody from nowhere. And the fact that I never wanted to be famous. I never wanted to be on the radio. I never wanted to be a pop star. I never wanted to be a rapper. I never wanted any of that. All I ever wanted was to do this, you know. So that was a big one for me for sure.
So, you know, you had done, you know, by that point, you're doing already a bunch of stuff with agencies, right?
No, not a damn thing.
So is that only something that comes in the latter part of your career, like when you start making Fuck the Ass and things like that?
Oh, I've never dealt with any agencies.
So Fuck the Ass, was that just a recording label?
Yeah, FTA was a DIY label that I started to just sort of like me and my buddies, like to put out me and my buddies stuff. You know, it was just like sort of a heading for us to have. You know, like I had some friends back in the day that we, you know, like I said, we weren't cool kids, and I'm sure everybody sort of knows what that means now. You know, death metal's around enough to you see the clicks. You know, everybody sees the clicks, and you know, we weren't part of any cliques. You know, I mean, fast forward, I'm still not part of any fucking cliques, and you know, and so we were just doing our own thing, you know, and FTA was sort of, you know, just a heading for our own thing.
I mean, it's a genius name, man, honestly.
Yeah, when I, you know, and so I ended up giving that, I gave that label to a friend of mine, and who was integral to me in my early years, and he still does it, I think. So.
And out of that, you came out with founded Awful Goodness Records.
Yeah, I just started Awful Goodness. That one's gonna be a little more of a true label. I really, you know, my comeback too. You know, I had a comment. This will sound a little fickle, but I had a guy leave a comment on like one of my just like Facebook posts or something like that, and he said something. He said that, you know, the scene needs its OGs, and you know, he said that to me, expecting me to take responsibility from that statement, and I did. You know, I did. And that you know, if I'm gonna, you know, be around 20 years and still be lucky enough to have fans that are going to come to my shows and pay attention to stuff I'm doing and stuff, it's only right for me to, you know, pass whatever I can along to the next generation. And whether that be information or whether it just be, you know, whether it be love, you know, I had a lot of guys snub me on my come up, and I never forgot that. And I always said I was never going to be one of those guys, and I try not to be. And so, you know, I won't put out popular bands on Awful Goodness. You know, I want to put out up and coming bands. I want to put out young bands. You know, I just picked up Vibrations Felt in the Void. That's he put out a sick album, an absolutely just brutal album called Wheel of Catherine that he just put out on YouTube, and I'm going to give that album a physical release.
Hell yeah.
And you know, he's, you know, the guy who does that project, you know, he's not real interested in a lot of like the mumbo jumbo. Like, he just wants to play brutal music, you know, and that's exactly the type of guys that I want to work with.
And your label is specific for Pornogrind, right?
Just brutal tunes. You know, I don't really break down too big into the genres and subgenres and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Just anything that's brutal, anything where just people are passionate, you know, and aren't worried about playing the game. They just want to make brutal music. I just want to give them a home. I want to put it out for them. I want to, you know, if I'm, like I said, if I'm lucky enough for people to want to, you know, listen to a half a shit, you know, give a half a fuck about anything that I have to say, then it's only right for me to promote some sick new bands.
Mhm. I feel that, man. Yeah, you got to lead the way for the new generation, so to speak.
Facts, dude.
Have you been seeing any big, you know, resurgences of new Pornogrind bands from the time you started?
There's a big, so the Pornogrind thing is like,
I know as a whole that it's kind of, you know, it's dying, but, you know.
Yeah, everybody hates, like, you know, don't tell anybody you're fucking Pornogrind, dude.
Yeah. I know now it's just grind, and, you know, nobody goes as, you know, of course nobody's going to be Cemetery Rapist. It's not by any means, but I guess, you know, it has kind of gone more into just straight grind, because I can't really call grind being a thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the grind resurgence is fucking awesome. You know,
Yeah.
that's what's so funny. All those like I call them coastal grind bands. You know, there's a bunch of sick grind bands from out like in California, and I know that those guys hate the fuck out of me, bro. I know they hate the fuck out of me, but dude, I love them. You know, I mean, I think they're sick. You know, I think those bands are dope. You know, and you know, there's a lot of those grind bands. There's a lot of like fast bands coming out of the West Coast. There's a lot of those kind of slowy, sludgier grind bands coming out of the East Coast. You know,
Dude,
again,
there's so much good grind coming out.
Yeah,
And just slam and like heavy shit. Oh my God.
And again,
incredible.
It's too bad because I wish those guys would be friends. You know, I think those guys are awesome. Those are the bands that I want to play shows with. Those are the bands that I like. You know, if I had to throw myself into a ring of bands, you know, I know I play a lot of like the death metal festivals and stuff like that. I play with a lot of like brutal death bands, and that's fine. You know, I know I talk a lot of shit too, but I mean everybody that do brutal death isn't doing itself any favors these days. You know, it's an easy.
I mean, it's you know you got fucking Dying Fetus started in the '90s. I mean, it's never been about taking it easy or being nice or thinking about what people are going to think about you, the perception. Nobody's ever given a fuck about perception. So
yeah,
I'd find it kind of funny that people nowadays want to go and say, oh, extreme music should have some thoughts about other people's perception of it. And it's like, no, it's an art form. It's going to be an art form and just do whatever the fuck it wants to do. So
yeah,
you can't really be critical of it.
The extreme music scene policing the extreme music scene is a little lame. I mean, I get it to some extent, but it's like, oh man, I don't know. It's so hard now. It's really I don't know where you draw the line. I don't know where you draw the line. And bands, so like if you are an anti-fascist grind band, are my song titles really that fascist? Is that really? I mean, are you just? Is that really the problem? You know what I mean? Is it really the problem? Or if you're a fucking political grind band, like I just so that's I love the grind resurgence. I love the grind resurgence. I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's odd that the same people that are like behind the grind resurgence have also drawn a line in the sand as far as like what they're going to be offended by and not offended by.
Mhm. What art they're going to accept and what is unacceptable.
So it's like, they all have G.G. Allen shirts on,
Or
and
they're
it's like,
Elvis fans.
Yeah, it's very odd, for the extreme music scene to just decide, like that G.G. Allen was cool, but the Seth Putnam's not. And to draw those lines and stuff like that. I find that to be odd. Not to say that you have to like anal cunt. Hey, I'm not a big anal cunt fan either. You know what I mean? It's not what I'm saying.
Listen, dude, you don't have to be an Infant Annihilator fan. I'm just saying that you should respect the fact that art is art. And once you cancel out one form or one style of art, then just by, precedent, just by saying that one form of art is cancelable, then that means any other form of art is going to be cancelable. And you can just go ahead and start deleting and saying, no, this cannot be a band, no, this cannot be an album, this music cannot be released, and you're just going to start doing a whole bunch of fucking censorship bullshit. And listen, that's not what we're about, all right?
It's really not. I'll be the first guy to stand up and say that people can be cancelable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if people, judge people based on their actions.
Yeah.
Judge people based on their actions. And hey man, if you got shitty cats out here running around doing bullshit, push them out of the scene. That
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense. But if you got guys that want to push the envelope of your music scene or your musical tolerance, just take a chill pill.
Touch grass and reconsider what you might consider reality to be and what the world to be. Because it's way bigger than you know, and there's a lot more shit out there than you know. And I can guarantee you that whatever you are in, whatever you are listening to, whatever you're going through as well, there's worse, okay? There's so much worse out there, so just chill out.
Yeah, in a world full of shitty people, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I mean, there's so much worse that you can be angry about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Be mad at Steve Harvey for stealing jokes. Don't be mad at grind bands for playing blast beats.
Don't be mad at musicians, period.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, granted, of course, you have contextualized, but whatever. We're going to move on. So, just on the subject of touring, what's that been like for you? Going from early days, did you start touring out of the get-go as well?
I started playing shows out of the get-go. I knew right away that it was going to be important to play, like out of state shows. Of course, this is back in the MySpace days, so it was, the only way that you were going to get heard in California is if you got out to California.
Yep.
There was only so much the internet was going to do for you at that time as far as your presence with the people. And nowadays with the internet, you could put it. I mean, you could put a fucking story on your Instagram in 2 seconds, and it's just you sitting in your bedroom. It's direct to the people. But back then, it wasn't like that.
I mean, yeah, dude. Like even considering, I keep that track, but real quick, I want to input. This is, as far as I know, going to be the only voice recording of you on streaming services, including Spotify.
Yes.
Like you have your own YouTube account, but you of course have your own website. It's what is that website?
OneManMenace.com.
You can go to that, get his music, listen to it. But in terms of you and what you want to say to your fans and things like that, this is honestly the one way for you to do it. So if you want to just say anything to them very quickly, go ahead and input that before we continue. So you got to, I assume that we're going to go ahead and, shoot for the 2-hour-ish mark, another 45 minutes. It's rolling swell. But I got a lot more that I want to go through anyhow, so this is perfect, so I figured might as well.
Facts. Man, like I said, I've always been, fully cognizant of the fact that, like I like to say that I'm nobody from nowhere, and, which I think, I think that's fine. I don't say that as some sort of, dig at myself or something like that. I think most of us are nobody from nowhere.
Yep.
And especially after being gone for 5 years and the comeback and, kind of like you were saying, touring and stuff, how is that? Especially, shows are shows. They all kind of, started to mold together after a couple years since the comeback this year. And seeing all these young people and these new Cemetery Rapist fans, appreciative isn't the word, dude. I think I meet a lot of guys who feel like they're owed fandom. I put in my hours on the drum kit, I put in my hours on the guitar, and now I deserve to play shows in front of people, and I deserve to sell CDs, and I deserve all this and stuff. Yeah. I don't feel like that. I've never, not once in my life, ever felt like I deserved any of this. I felt lucky, to be able to experience this kind of stuff. And my shows aren't packed, man. I don't play to packed. I'm not fucking Frozen Soul, I'm not Mr. Popular out here, but. Man, the idea that even amongst all the shit that we've been talking about and, being censored from my own scene and all that stuff. To have fans, dude, to after all these years, to have somebody hit me up and say, hey, man, you want to do a podcast and shit. Dude, it's fucking, it's all I ever wanted, you know? It's all I ever wanted was to do this shit. I never wanted to be on the radio. I never wanted to be famous. I never wanted to be rich. I just wanted to be fucking heavy in the death metal scene, man. You know, that's all, it's it, you know? It's all I've ever wanted, and, like,
check that bitch off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you know, if I never play another fucking overseas show and I never fucking go see the oceans again, if I fucking, you know, if I get hit by a car today, you know, if my, you know, I got some issues with my, like my throat and stuff like that, if that stuff gets worse and I can't do vocals anymore, man, I'm nothing but appreciative. I'm nothing but appreciative. You guys are the absolute 100% best fans, best fucking people that have ever fucking existed. Anybody could be a fan of Metallica. Anybody could be a fan of you know, Celine Dion, bro. It takes, you know, to be a fan of Cemetery Rapist, you have to, you know, put some thought into that.
Yeah.
And I think that's fucking sick.
Hell yeah. So you've been going through some things with your throat. Is that something that's related to playing live, or?
In 2019, I got diagnosed with a salivary gland infection, which isn't actually that big of a deal. Like it's really not, but it does, like, I've had some people ask me about this. I'll elaborate about this to the point where it's not, you know, gross or anything like that. Like, so what it is like, you know, everybody's body produces calcium. You know what I mean? What my problem is the calcium that gets produced gets stuck, like, in the and of course this is like, it's nothing you can see. This is all like microscopic shit going on here. Okay. So like the calcium deposits that my body produces will get stuck in my salivary gland ducts, and so like saliva won't get distributed to my vocal cords properly. And so
you're just extra thirsty?
No, it makes my vocals hurt.
Oh.
So it's like straining it's like if you work out a muscle without water. You know what I mean? Like if you're fucking out in the sun all day and you're like working your fucking dick off and like your legs start to like
cramp?
Hurt. Yes, that's what it's like.
Whoa.
So that's a little, and like people don't understand that. So like I'll be on stage, like if you see me close my eyes on stage while I'm doing vocals, it's because it hurts. You know, and here's the crazy thing. You know how to deal with that? This is so fucking nuts, dude. I went to the fucking doctor. Here's how I found out about this. My fucking neck swelled up like a baseball.
What?
Yeah.
Like both sides or like one side?
Like just one side. Just one side of my neck swelled up like a baseball. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, well, I'm going to go to the ER. You know what I mean? So I go to the ER, dude, and I go to this little fucking Mercy hospital because I'm broke. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I can't go to, like, the fancy hospital. You got to go to the one where it's, like, you know, whatever, right? And so I go to this one, like, get to the ER, and they're like, oh, what's your deal? And I'm like, yeah, I got this baseball happening. It didn't hurt. And, like, it was just, like, it was just fucked. I was like, what the fuck, right? I see this. I go back in the back. This doctor comes out, and he's, like, super excited. He's probably, like, 50-some. He's like, hey, bro. He's like, you're never going to believe this. Like, he just, you know, doctors don't have much social skills. You know, they're busy being doctors. God. You know what I mean? So he bursts in this room. He's like, yo, you're never going to believe this. He's like, I know what's wrong with you. And I was like, well, I fucking hope so. I'm a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
Nerding out, dude. He's like, this is my time.
It was, dude. He's like, yo, I know what you got. He's like, you know why I know? And I'm like, why? And he's like, because I got it too. What? And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I still can't make this shit. He's like, before I tell you, I'm doing a class. Can I bring my students in here? And I'm like, what? fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like I said, this is kind of like a free hospital.
Are you there like in robe and shit?
No, I'm not in all that. I'm in my clothes, but I had one of the things on, but I'm in my clothes. You know what I mean? Like I'm still got my pants on and shit. So it's like, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I'm like, but like I said, it's like the free hospital. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm poor. Right, so he's like, yeah, it's like that. They have interns at those motherfucking hospitals. That's how they, get state funded dollars to yada yada, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm gonna bring some of these class people in here. Do you care? Like, you got to get consent. And I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Whatever, bro. You're so excited. You know what I mean? He's like, he went. So he goes skipping off down the hallway. He comes back with these like 6. 20-year-old kids. You know what I mean? Like, just these little intern, 22-year-old fucking medical student interns, and they're all fucking shining lights down my throat and shit like that. I'm like, whatever, dog. I'm like, tell me what my deal is.
Like clipboards and shit.
Yeah. No, they got the clipboards, everything, dog. The whole
staring
fucking
at you hard as fuck.
Yeah. Staring at me like I'm a fucking animal in a zoo, you know? And then he tells me about the salivary gland infection. He's like, okay. He's like, you fix it with sour candies. And I'm like, what? He's like, sour candies. He's like, it sounds stupid. He's like, listen, calcium is totally normal. And the fact that, like, your calcium deposits get stuck in a part of your body, also totally normal. He's like, this happens to most people. He's like, most of the time it's, like, in their, like, their gut or something, where, like, their stomach or, their, like, intestines just take care of it. You know what I mean? It's not like a thing, but yours just so happens to happen in your salivary gland, So it is what it is. He's like, so it's not that big of a deal, but the sour, like, it's that sour taste, that, like, the sting from sour, he's like, that gets rid of it clears it up. Like,
bitterness.
It clears up your salivary tracts, your saliva tracts.
So what are some of your favorite, I mean, now I'm assuming you're just whoring out on fucking sour candies, dude. So what are some of your favorites?
Yeah, this is. See, here's where things get fucked up, right? Because the sour candies get kind of like, they're inefficient. You know what I mean? Because it's like, how many motherfucking warheads?
Is it not enough?
It's like, it's inefficient to like carry around, I guess.
How about Skittles? Those are very fucking sour.
No, not sour enough. Okay, so this is the problem. So this is the other thing. If you've seen me on stage chugging Monsters, that's what those are for. Those the green Monster energy drinks work the best for my specific thing. So, like, my merch guy, I got a merch guy that comes to me on all my shows, and he's always giving me shit. He's like, you're going to get kidney stones from those fucking Monsters.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't have a choice, motherfucker.
I mean, you got to find some kind of substitute eventually.
I know. I've heard
energy drinks isn't good.
Terrible. Bro, it's 100%
I'm also, I need to take my own advice because, for my work, I work 12-hour shifts. So,
yeah.
I'm, dude, I hit after the first 2 hours, first energy drink, after the first 5 hours, second energy drink, and it goes downhill from there, bro.
Yeah.
I come home and I can't fucking sleep. I'm just cracked out.
Yeah, no, my merch guy's right. I am gonna get kidney stones. It's bad for business. You know what I mean? Like, but it's one of those things, like, for shows, they're just convenient. They're at the gas station. You grab two, you hit the show, bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, I got something that might fix your fix. There's a specific candy. It's out of the UK. It is like quoted as one of the most sour candies on earth. It's basically a little ball. It's a lemon ball, and it's coated with like extra lemon like coating. So essentially, you'd like the first bit that you're sucking is just like straight lemon, but then the interior as well, like the softer, more quote unquote sweeter, is also just straight lemon ball. So it's like 2 lemon balls pretty much.
See, that could be a play, like the dual thing. You know what I mean? Because that's the problem. Once the sour goes away,
or 2 or 3 or 4 releases, to be honest.
Yeah, because once the sour, like, if it's like Warheads. This is my thing. I tried Warheads, but the Warheads are only sour for a second. You know what I mean? Once the coating is off those things, and yeah, so it's like they're only sour for like 2 seconds, and then you got to fucking take another 5 minutes to eat the dumb thing, and it's like fuck. And that was the whole thing. It's like it's the liquid of that fucking stupid monster that.
How does this affect touring?
I just spend a lot of money on Monster. I go to Dollar General and get the 4-packs for cheaper.
You need a fucking sponsorship, dude.
I know. I'm telling you, man, those things are the devil too. Everybody's
they really are.
They have no proponent. Like everybody that's seen me fucking walking around with the monsters are like, bro, you need to stop. And I'm like, I know. At least now people know it's like. It was an actual doctor that told me that I need to do this. I mean, if I told him I was chugging monsters, he'd probably be like, that's not what I told you. I know,
just
bro.
Seen his fucking eyes open, like, just wide. Like, what?
I'd be like, this is doctor's advice, right? He's like, it's not doctor's advice. You're a fucking idiot.
That is not what I meant.
That's typical. That's typical me. I'll take something you told me and fucking ring that motherfucker into something bad.
Holy shit, dude. That's fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah,
I'll find the link for that lemon head shit and send it to you, dude, because I was gonna buy it, and it's, that shit's wild. It sold out because it was so popular. They had made a video of it on TikTok of people like fucking losing their shit because it is incredibly sour. I've had something similar to it, but it's the U.S. version. I can't remember for the life of me, but I think really what you need is just lemon heads. There are definitely specialized sour candies out there, especially of the lemon head proportion. You can go fucking nuts with the flavorings, dude, like fucking strawberry, lemon, fucking just, I mean, they've got a bunch of good shit out there.
I gotta peep it for sure.
Yeah,
I need extra strength sour. It's like the more it hurts, the better.
You know what you should do, bro? Just contact these fucking companies directly and be like, listen, I have an issue here and you have a challenge, all right? Make the most sour shit ever, all right? In large quantities and with multiple release forms. I need a ball inside of a ball inside of another fucking ball of just straight lemon head.
Dude, I always think if I was in a more popular band, I could get hella paid. Like, could you imagine me going to Monster and being like, hey, I need this for medical reasons?
Dude, the amount of
like, fuck yeah, brother.
Bro, it's insane. Like, sponsorships are nuts, man. I've never, I mean, like, I personally engage in sponsorships on behalf of our booking agency, but and we've been on the receiving end of some sponsorships over the years when we did our festival, but it's nuts for me to think about merchandising sponsorships. Like, we are always on financial sponsorship terms, and just merchandising sponsorships are nuts to me, dude. Like, just being like, all right, we need a couple 100 cases of this specific Mango Loco monster, and just having it arrive in your fucking mail. Like, fucking nuts. Modern day is insane, dude. Like,
it's mad funny, dude. It's hilarious too, because I'm mad simple, dude. Like, I could be blackmailed so easily. I could be bought with brownies, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you show up to a show, you bring me some chocolate chip cookies, I'll do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? Like, you bring me a fucking rice. Yeah, you bring me a Rice Krispie treat. I'm not talking about edibles. I'm talking about legitimate fucking cookies and shit. You bring me a Rice Krispie treat, a homemade Rice Krispie treat, I'll give you a fucking full 1.5-minute video on fucking Instagram. I don't give a fuck, man. I'll be wearing your T-shirts and shit like that for fucking Betty's Bakery and shit.
Are you gonna wear their band shirt?
Bro, okay. Dude, if a band shows up and gives me a fucking tray of fucking chocolate chip cookies, or no, not even chocolate, like oatmeal raisin. They give me a tray of oatmeal raisin cookies and their T-shirt, I'm rocking that bitch. You know what I'm saying? They give me a tray of oatmeal raisin cookies. I'm putting their shirt on right there.
You're about to start some shit. You know what you just done.
Nobody will do it. That's the thing. That's what's great about being cemetery rapist. I can say this shit and it's all fine. No one's giving cemetery.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, that's hilarious. That's exactly who you should give fucking cookies to. I mean, come on.
Dude, fucking, where do I get the China Walk fucking sponsorship? Yo, give me a China Walk I'll wear a China Walk T-shirt for free. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll buy the spring rolls and I'll buy the China Walk shirt.
If you could have one sponsorship free, it could be any chain, all right, non-big chain or small big chain.
I'm so ready for this. Taco Bell, bro.
Fuck, dude.
Taco Bell, dog. Taco Bell.
I mean, listen, hear me out, all right?
Taco Bell is good, bro.
If you could get a sponsorship to every Chinese, like, China Walk buffet in the U.S.
Yeah, but them motherfuckers will make you'll die, bro. I mean, you'll die from Taco Bell.
I mean,
bro,
dude, like, listen, we're gonna die regardless. That's not the question here.
I wish my merch guy was here. He won't listen to this. I know he won't listen this far in. Like, even if he did listen to this, he'd only listen to like 15 minutes. He'd be like, fuck off. He'd tell me he listened to it. But, bro, I took him to this. We went to a Chinese place in Indiana, outside Fort Wayne, Indiana. I don't remember what fucking shithole town it was, but some shithole town in Indiana. We got the fucking Chinese food, you know. And he goes on this whole rant about how he's gonna be shitting his pants and the whole thing. Dude, you know what's crazy too? He could eat with chopsticks. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my life. He pulled out chopsticks. He's this fucking white boy from Texas. He pulled out chopsticks. I was like, what in the fuck? That's a whole Riley. If you're listening to this, fuck you, bro. He's an anime nerd. He's so into anime, and he just knows all this fucking weird fucking Asian culture shit, and he just knows how to eat.
Oh my god! Wait, he was carrying around chopsticks?
No.
He did.
He used the one at the restaurant, but like, it was just the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And I swear to God, if I could throw up a picture of my fucking merch guy right now, he's one of my. I hate calling him my merch guy. He's one of my best friends too, you know, but. If I threw up a picture of him right now, he just would not look like the type of guy who just bust out some fucking. He could use him real good too, you know. It's like he was like poking shit. Like no, he was eating rice with chopsticks. I was like, bro, you are
what
beast. I swear to God. See, I knew it wasn't weird.
Dude.
I told him it was a fucking talent. And he's like, bro, people can do this. I'm like, no, people.
No, he's correct. You're correct, Riley. All right, we're not saying. All right, and that's not the point here. It is just incredible. Okay,
yeah, it's a talent.
Absolutely a talent, dude. Like that's some shit where, like, if I saw it happening, I'd be like, dude, can I fucking record you?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Can I get my DSLR and set it in front of you and record this in 4K?
I didn't even know I was. He started laughing at me. He pulled out the chopsticks and he looked at me and he's like, "Bro, what?" I was like, "Oh, my fault," because I was looking at him all crazy. I was like, "Fuck, I didn't know you could eat with chopsticks." That's crazy. But no, I tell you,
dude.
That was the shtick. Having to eat Chinese food every fucking day at tour with that fucking dude, it'd been like, no dice, dog. No fucking dice, bro. Like,
wow. So what is something that you're doing a lot while you're on tour? I mean, aside from stopping at gas stations.
Smoking weed.
Smoking weed. Okay. All right.
I spent a lot of time. God, I wish he was here. I spent a lot of time sitting in the hotel complaining. I like to complain. I'm a big complainer. I'm a pro level bitcher, bro. I could bitch about all types of shit. So I just sitting there. And that's the thing. Like, I started dragging him around to all my shows with me and stuff like that. And then he's great too, because he's kind of a nihilist too. You know, he's kind of like fuck the world and stuff like that. So I just be sitting in that fucking hotel room like,
oh God,
and just making fun. You know, I'm just like, bro, you know, and just going off. You know, and he just laughs and laughs and laughs.
And he eggs you on, huh?
Yeah, no, it's all bad. He's all bad, like, which is great, but it's all good too. He's like a bad influence, but he's a good influence too. Like, he's always trying to get me fucking drunk as shit, but then every time I get drunk as shit, we have fun. You know, I'm always like, why are you trying to get me drunk as shit? He's like, dude, you like it, and it's like, well, yeah, and he's like, well, yeah, it you know. Our conversations are real funny for that shit too. He's just like, bro, what are you talking about?
Hell yeah. Like, so, I mean, do you like doing tour during winter, or do you? Oh,
I take winters off. Yeah, I no winter shows. Winter bad. I played some shows in November. I played some shows this past November. I got sicker than I've ever been in my life, bro. And not only that, I played 2 shows doing it. It was fucking crazy.
Wait, just from like changing in temperature, or like
I don't know. I fucking hate winter, bro. I just feel like winter. I just equate winter with sickness.
Yeah, that's pretty on point, dude. I mean, honestly, winter touring is such a pain in the ass, and is something that I will never be able to wrap my head around. It is so dangerous, and it's the ballsiest shit for all you road dogs out there. Keep fucking chugging along, man. Good shit.
The other thing too is if you're not fucking packing venues, then don't do it.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean.
You know that. I mean, if you can fucking pack venues in January and stuff like that, if you can go out to fucking play Seattle and pack fucking 400 kids into a venue in January, then have at it. I know that there's that fucking band out touring right now or whatever like that with some fucking homies and anyway, but they're they can fucking pull crowds, and I mean, hey, I'm not gonna tell you not to go get paid in January, I mean, everybody's got fucking bills to pay, but. Dude, Jesus Christ! Look at like the weather pattern that just went through is fucking. They got like snow flurries in Corpus Christi, shit like that. It's just like that's too far south.
I mean, dude, like us getting an inch of black ice on a random fucking Monday morning, just
I mean, you can't do anything, bro.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
You literally cannot drive. You literally cannot step outside, or you will fucking fall on your ass and go down the steps.
Years ago, I accidentally booked shows in Florida during hurricane season. I didn't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, this was years and years ago, But I'm from Illinois. You know what I mean? What do I know about hurricane season? I don't fucking know.
True.
And so yeah, I had to cancel those shows because what do you know? A fucking hurricane put 6 foot of water in Tampa, and it was like, oh wow, shit, And so it's funny, touring and stuff like that. It's something a lot of bands don't think about. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe it's a play to go out and tour in the winter. I don't like to tour in the summer because it's oversaturated.
I think it's ballsy as shit. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I really don't see any point aside if you have like a market, like A+ market. That you have fans in, you have like locals as well that you can get good gigs with and shit. Fuck it, why not? If you're gonna make, a couple $100 plus for everybody, why not? But if you're not doing that, then I just really, it's mind blowing because it's so fucking dangerous out there, dude. And like we only get more. Like, really, this shit only started hitting me when the Ghost, the Ghost Inside, they had their big accident. That's when I was, like, really open up to the horrors of touring and, how bad it can be, really, for having a big accident like that with a lot of people.
Especially if you're towing a trailer.
Dude.
I mean, if you got a little trailer behind your van or something like that, I mean, everybody knows it's 10 times out of 10, it's the other drivers on the road you got to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I actually do a little bit of amateur tornado chasing, and
what?
Yeah,
that's cool as fuck, dude.
Yeah. When I moved down here to Arkansas, I'm right on the edge of Tornado Alley. I've always been interested in storms and stuff like that.
Whoa.
So I'm actually Skywarn certified to be able to call in storms to the National Weather Service and stuff like that. And I had to take some classes for that out in Oklahoma. And but yeah, really into the weather and stuff like that. But what's funny is storm chasers know that it's like 9 out of 10. Storm chasing isn't as dangerous as people think it is. It probably used to be, but nowadays radar is pretty sick. You know what I mean? You'd be pretty.
And anybody can get it.
Oh yeah, I mean anybody can get fucking radar scope for $100 on their phone. It's nothing. So to get hit by a tornado in 2024, you're just to get hit in 2024, you're not paying attention. But as a storm tracker, to get hit by a storm, you're basically an idiot. But most storm chasers die.
Suicidal.
Yeah, but most storm chasers die by car accidents, and it's like. Yeah, it's an incredible amount. Like, of all the storm chasers that have ever died, only a minute amount have ever died from the actual storm they were chasing. Most of them get hit by other storm chasers, actually, guys who are really, you got adrenaline going and stuff like that.
That's some
so,
shit you'll see in the movies, dude.
Yeah, man, that shit happens, dude. That shit happens all the fucking time out there in the plains and on those country roads chasing storms.
Mm-hmm.
Guys hit each other, not paying attention, running stop signs out in the middle of nowhere and stuff.
I mean, I imagine it can get really dusty, too, because you have so much debris and shit fucking swarming around it. And the huge fields, too, right?
Oh, yeah, and everybody's eyes are on the sky. Nobody's eyes are on the road, you know what I mean?
I mean, wait, you don't have people, like, actually looking, like, what the, wait, are you telling me the fucking driver is also looking at the sky?
I mean, tornadoes are impactful, people, a lot of times those guys are out there by themselves, I go out and chase storms by myself and stuff like that, so, just kind of the way, and I'm looking at radar and looking at the road and looking at the sky and trying to read the clouds and shit like that, do it all the same. But,
I feel like you need a co-pilot for that, dude.
It's a lot easier with two people. Mm-hmm. And, hey, touring bands, think about that. When you guys want to pass out and you want to leave your one guy driving, you know what I mean?
Yeah, don't be that fucking asshole, all right?
Man.
The passenger... You stay up and you make sure the fucking driver is staying up, because that fucking asshole can't be trusted either.
Yeah,
that's why there's a two-people system.
The road is hard, man. I've seen bands go out and do 30 days and come back, and those guys not only does their band break up, those guys never play music ever again. I've seen it a lot, bro. I've seen it a lot.
That reality check.
Yeah, that hard reality check. And I mean, I could name a bunch of bands. I could name so many bands right now that went out there and booked the 25 days, the 30 days, the big tours, you know what I mean, and booked them, and it was the end of their music career, the end forever. They went home and got jobs.
Man, that shit's tough.
Yeah, it's not easy out there, man. It is fucking not easy.
Fuck out of home, and you. Yeah. One of the most craziest things that I experienced as well was coming home and literally, like, your body and your mind, you kind of feel like you're not at home, like you have this really weird sense of dysmorphia almost with the house and, like, with your, the bathroom and shit. Like, you're kind of just, like, standing around almost for a second, like, what the fuck do I do now?
I have this thing, and I've always done this, that when I get back from shows, I immediately go back to work. Like, the very next day, I don't take any days off. Even if it was like a 13-hour drive home or something like that or whatever, I'll go to work the next day just to get myself, like, back, like.
Habit is a very good thing to have, especially when you're because you have touring life as a whole is so unregimented. Like, granted, you have kind of set times for everything. For the most part, most of your load-ins are going to be kind of around the same time. Most of the shows are going to be kind of around the same time. But you have so much shit throughout the day on to getting there that you're just doing willy-nilly. That's, it's a very free life. But, once you get home, you're like, holy fuck, what do I do?
Yeah, I've always said, it's funny, I see why, as soon as I started playing shows, as soon as I started releasing music, all that stuff, I became instantly just attached, and I'm incredibly passionate about this, and as are so many other guys. And it's easy to see why guys get passionate, and it's also easy to see why and how guys can sort of, fuck their lives up a little bit. When I was young, and I quit plenty of jobs and all that stuff to do this stuff, and shitty jobs and just whatever jobs you get for 6 months, knowing you're only going to have them for 6 months or whatever. But, it's important. I use this as an example. I see a lot of guys will get online after, like, festivals, and you see guys talk about post-fest depression and stuff. And, I sort of get it. You're there, you're around all your people, you know, where your home is. You know, you probably don't have a ton of homies and shit. Certainly not like at a festival or something like that. And guys get to feeling bad. You know, it's important, man, to have your personal life together as well. You know, that's a piece of advice I always give to young bands. You know, don't you know, stay focused on your passion, but you know, stay focused on your life too, man. Don't wake up one day, you know, 40 with nothing, you know, and no self-discipline. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, touring, you know, going out on the road and being a band, especially if you can start to make a couple bucks, you know, and be kind of successful out there, it's easy to get, you know, a little bit like addicted to almost.
And Craig, do you mean by having nothing, do you mean that more like spiritually, or do you mean that literally monetarily?
What do you mean?
You know, for the folks that maybe they do not do it for money, so to speak, and they do it more for kind of like a feel-good type.
Like the touring thing?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
like
mean,
most people that do end up going on the road, they don't end up making money. Or
if you're gonna go out on the road, if you're gonna go out on the road and spend money to do it, I mean, here's the thing. Listen, bands. This is the other thing about bands that young bands don't get. You got to play shows for a decade for free. Like that's one thing. You got to play shows for a decade for free. It takes 10 years, man. I traveled the country for free, you know. And that's what the passion is. You have to know, you know. Now, if you're just playing in a band to play in a band and you're going out and you're doing your thing, hey, man, everybody gets 2 weeks of vacation at their job. You know, take your 2 weeks, you know, whatever. I hope you're not pissing off your old lady, you know, or maybe you don't, you know, maybe, hey, maybe she's not going to be your old lady for long. Maybe she's just your, you know, your girl for now or whatever. Who cares?
Don't throw away the pension on touring, all right?
Yeah. You know, if you're gonna take your 2 weeks and tour, and like leave a wife at home or something, you know, make sure you take care of her. You know, and you know, dude, being in a band is supposed to be fun. It should be fun. You know, and like if it's not fun, you should quit. That's for real. But you know, spending money is another thing. You know, print some T-shirts, take some CDs out on the road, you know, and it's not about making money. It's about not living off your old lady. You know, it's about not pissing off your family, you know, or whatever like that, you know.
If you are just barely in the green, remember you are still in the green.
Yeah, man. I just, you know, I always, I'm not much of a, I feel like if you're going to do something, I don't know, the way that I look at things is if you're going to do something, you should go all out. Like I have a great quote that if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. And so if you're in a band for fun and it's just fun, you know, and that's all you want to do is just be fun, then be a local band. Don't go out on the road. What are you doing out there? You know what I mean? Like you just spend, you know, you're spending up your own little money.
Man.
Yeah, man. And then go on vacation, bro. Don't go out and play don't go spend your 2 weeks, you know, don't work your ass off 40 hours a week and then spend your 2 weeks going and hanging out in fucking dive bars. Go to the Rocky Mountains, bro.
You know, go family.
Yeah, go yeah, take your old lady to fucking Lima, Peru, bro. Don't, you know what I mean? Like don't go to a bar and play a show for 11 people in Omaha.
What are some changes that you've seen in touring?
I mean, really, you know, the main change I've seen is a lot of this. You know, I haven't seen a lot of, you know, back in the day, you saw a lot of bands like go out on the road, and it was like, hey, what are you doing out there? You know. But, man, I'm telling you, these bands that are going out these days, they are pulling crowds, bro. You know, they are pulling crowds. They are getting in there. You know, I'm not real, you know, the hardcore crossover thing isn't really my cup of tea. But, boy, oh, boy, it is doing fucking wonders for the underground, you know. And, you know, so really in a few years, hey, everything I said may be moot. You know what I mean? That all may be a thing of the past. Maybe, you know, playing shows is just fucking sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shit, maybe
and
we'll all be millionaires
you know,
soon.
yeah, from my, you know, the perspective that I'm coming at is the perspective of, you know, an underground band where, you know, you're not playing to shows of 150 people, you know, and you know, you're not going out on a tour and playing for 150, 200 people every night. You know, dude, I'll play shows for 20 people, 30 people. You know, that's grind, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's the underground, you know. So, but man, you know, these guys are going out now, and they're putting together sick tour packages. You know, like I said, even if it's not my cup of tea, man, I'll look at some of these packages and be like, man, somebody really put their head on their fucking shoulders here, and you know, made some good decisions here, you know, and good for them, dude. Good for them. I love seeing these bands go out and get it.
Do you have any of them that come to mind before I move on to this next topic?
Boy, I hate shouting out bands because
no worries. That's good.
they don't. Yeah, because a lot of bands won't shout me out. They go out of their way not to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's something that I was very interested when I was doing my research, and it was that you had learned your vocals a very specific way. And how was that, Clay?
Yeah. So I learned my crickets on accident. When I started Cemetery Rapist, I was just doing like exhale death metal vocals. Like I said, I didn't know what vocal technique even was, bro. I didn't even know. I mean, the only death metal, you know, I was listening to like Cannibal Corpse, and I was just trying to like do that. You know, really, I had no idea. I had never heard of an inhale. I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I don't think a lot of people were even doing it back then. I mean, I'm sure there were some people, but, you know, it's just, I don't know. So the first time I tripped acid, we got it from a buddy. It was me and another guy who was our first times, and then one of my best friends at the time who, it was certainly not his first time. He had been around the block once or twice or a million times. And so he was happy to, like, be our trip babysitter, you know what I mean? And we were happy to have him do that. And so we got some hits of acid from our friend, and they were double dropped. They were Pez. They were on Pez. They were, you know, it was dropped on Pez.
What?
It was dropped on each side. We only thought it was one drop per Pez, but I think they were double dropped on each side. I don't know if we ever confirmed that. But my buddy, though, where it wasn't his first time, he was like, bro, I was tripping fucking nuts. So he, you know, and
I saw God, dude.
Yeah. So, you know, he was like, he was the one who was like, dude, I think those were double drop, bro. I don't know. I was fucking flipping. You know, because I'm none the wiser. It was my first time, you know. But I know we took a hit or two. And then we did that fucked up thing where we took another hit or two, like 40 minutes later.
Dude, I don't feel anything, man.
Yeah.
Should we take more?
Yeah, one of those classic incidences. So we ended up frying our fucking nuts off, dude. And yeah, I ended up in my buddy's bathroom, and my buddy would say a bunch of shit to me that I didn't know he was doing it. He told me his bedroom was haunted. And so that I wouldn't go in there, because what it really was he lived in an apartment building, and his bedroom wall, like he shared a bedroom wall with like his neighbor, and he just didn't want me going in there being loud, you know, because I'm just a loud dickhead, you know what I mean? Because I'm volume illiterate, so he just didn't want me going in there being loud. So he told me his bedroom was haunted, and you know, and I got a head full of acid, so I'm like, holy fuck, you know what I mean? And he just did shit like. So one of the other things he did was he's like, don't look in my bathroom mirror. And, you know, he was just being a fucking dork, you know what I mean? Like,
honestly, sounds like a terrible trip daddy.
Yeah,
Don't look in the mirror. You should have kept me away from the fucking mirror in the first place.
So I go into the bathroom, take a piss, and I end up having an incident in his bathroom mirror with a crowd of Japanese people, And don't tell me how I knew they were Japanese, but I knew. And it was like I could see in the mirror that, like, through the mirror that I was on a stage, like, that was maybe 2 or 3 feet high, because all the crowd of people, they stood maybe like knee height to me. They, but so, and they were like going crazy. They were like, I don't know, it's like a crowd of like, like buck wild Japanese. and I started to make that noise, and I didn't know what I was doing, bro. I'm telling you, I'm not on like 2 hits of acid. I'm on like 7. You know what I mean? Like we're off our shit, bro. You know what I mean? And like I have no idea what's going on. Like, and I was just in this mirror making this sound at these Japanese people, and they really liked it, So I kept doing it, I'm kind of a sucker for attention myself, so I kept doing it, and they kept going crazy. And I don't know how long I was in there, because what are you gonna do? But after a while, I was like, whoa! I kind of stopped, and then the crowd kind of dispersed, And I was just looking, and then it was like an empty crowd in the mirror. It's just like standing on stage and looking out, and there's nobody there. And I was like, huh. So I left the bathroom, and my boy was like, what was that? And I was like, what was what? He's like, that fucking sound, And I'm like, oh, I don't know, like I was like almost like embarrassed.
There's an alien in the bathroom.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't even really exactly, I was like, what noise, And he's like, yo. He's like, right then and there, he's like, you should do that noise as your vocals. And I'm like, huh, and then we fucking finish off the night, and the next day, I like re-taught myself how to make that noise, and that was that. That's how I learned my crickets.
How did you end up making the transition as safely doing that from starting it? Or was it just immediately like you knew how to, project it enough to where you weren't hurting yourself?
It was loud from the start. It was just loud. Like even like if I do them in person, they're fairly loud. Even to this day, they're fairly loud. So,
have you had any like changes in the regime over time, or have you always kept like the same kind of, I guess preparation and all of that has always been the same?
So I learned that I could control the tone of it based on like where I applied pressure in my throat. And so eventually I learned, how to do different tones with them. And so I've got like versions of the crickets that no one's ever heard that sound so more like a predator vocal.
What?
And stuff like that.
Oh man, you can't tease us like that.
Yeah. Those are the ones that are like, that's how I like do my warm up. So like the way that I describe it is I like my vocals I like my crickets a little more wet sounding, and that predator noise is a little more dry sounding. And so I use that predator noise as my warm up. So like at shows, you'll see me like sitting off at my merch table with a shirt like balled up, like shoved in my face. That's what I'm doing vocals into that shirt. It's always been my warm up, like a wadded up hoodie or like whatever.
Wow.
And
very rudimentary. Nice.
Yeah, it just yeah. That's always what I've done. I'll still do it like to this day. Like sometimes I'll even like you'll see the wadded up T-shirt like sitting on my guitar case on stage or something like that. It's just something I've always done.
So I mean, it sounds like you've just always been able to do the vocals safely. Like you've never had any issues with it.
No. I've heard of people that have had issues, and the only issue, if it weren't for this stupid salivary gland thing, then it would be nothing. But, you know, like I said, Quick Monster, something like that, no big deal.
True.
So, yeah, it just came to me, and it just hasn't left yet. So,
fuck yeah, dude. Well, that's awesome, man. And so really, I guess the big question, the grand finale here as we're wrapping it up.
Sure.
The myth behind the name. How did Cemetery Rapist become chosen?
This is great. This is I'm telling you, my behind the scenes stuff is got to be so much less interesting than people think it is, but I don't know. So to me, the best band name of all time is Cannibal Corpse, and I know that probably is sort of like, you know, what the fuck? Yeah, it's such a cool name.
Yeah,
and I've always loved Cannibal Corpse. You know, I know I say I don't listen to a lot of like metal and stuff, and I don't. But Cannibal Corpse, I think most of us do. You know, I think if you're not, I think we're all Cannibal Corpse fans, even if we're not hardcore Cannibal Corpse fans.
You have to be, though. I mean,
yeah,
like, they were so they were such a pillar, you know, and they are such a pillar. Man.
Yeah,
They're like they're dead. But yeah,
and I know they've got newer music. I haven't listened to a lot of the newer stuff. I'm bad about keeping up, but dude, they're sick. You know what I mean? Like, they've always been sick, and I've always dug like their vibe. You know how they keep all their art and all their shirt designs, and you know it's all such like it's all so Cannibal Corpse that I've always just dug their little vibe. And so when I was trying to come up with a band name, it was like. It's literally like that simple, you know? So like the idea of like Cannibal Corpse, where it's clearly describing eating people, but it's like not so clear, you know? And it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to understand what Cannibal Corpse is. But the band name,
it takes you a minute to
I get their band name isn't I Eat People. You know what I mean? Like, that's, you know, it's not People Eaters or what. You know what I mean? It's fucking Cannibal Corpse, right? So it's like, it takes seconds. So I was like, now it's the whole thing where it's like, man, I've always been interested in people who were interested in dead bodies, you know? And like, cause fucking gross. You know what I mean? Like, what, you know, but I've always been interested in that. You know what I mean?
But
like,
you wouldn't be caught dead in a fucking morgue or anything like that.
Fuck off to hell, man.
Like,
no, I don't. That's that goofy fucking ghost hunter shit. Fuck all that. No, see that. No, I ain't. No, you catch me at the fucking.
See, you ain't really even bad at it.
Right. Yeah. But no, that was my thing. I was like, you know, how can I fuck? You know, so it was the same idea. Like, you know, I'm gonna make a band name. It's gonna be about fucking dead bodies, but it's not gonna be I fuck dead bodies. You know what I mean? And so it was like I knew I wanted. It's like I knew I wanted one word that would catch, and one word that would like describe. You know, and so I picked cemetery for my description word, and I picked rapist for my catchword, you know, and in the same way that like cannibal by itself, you know, isn't that, you know, weird or what wild or whatever, and corpse is a little more like attention grabbing than saying dead body, right? Literally that simple. Cemetery Rapist. So it's like, fuck it. And I haven't regretted it, not 1 second since.
Hell yeah. That fucking rocks, dude. Man, it has been a pleasure getting to know all about Cemetery Rapist and the myth and the lore, the legend behind the man, Clay Lemanski. Clay, do you have anything you want to plug really quickly?
Listen, hit up my website, onemanmenace.com. I'm banned from Spotify. I'm banned from Bandcamp. All my stuff is on there, free stream and download. My merchandise is also available on there. Links to my record label will be on there with all the available merchandise for all the bands that I sign. Awful Goodness Records. If you're a brutal fucking band, you're about that life, you want a fucking home, hit me up. I got you, man. Everybody hating on my band name and my song titles needs to chill out. I'm a straight up dude. I'm doing good things for the scene. I'm doing good things for your scene. Have me the fuck out. Don't play me like I'm fucking problematic. Save that for actual problematic, guys.
Oh, God.
All y'all fucking listening this long, I appreciate it, man. It's been a long fucking interview. I was hoping this is what it would be. I wanted to be in-depth and shit. I love you guys, man, for real. Thank you for having me out, bro.
It's been a pleasure, man. Clay, do you have any new music that's coming out? Or do you have a date so far?
I sure am glad you had to babysit me into that one for sure. Thank you, bro. I got that's some typical me shit right there. I'm just absolutely dropping the ball. Fam, I got a new album, my first new album in 10 plus years, man. It's been like 11 years since I put out new Cemetery Rapist music. My new fucking album is coming out on my label, Awful Goodness Records. It's going to be called From My Puddled Phallic Drip. Coming this April, you guys.
And are you going to be heading out on the road soon anytime?
Booking is extremely difficult. I go wherever I'm booked, fam. I go wherever I'm booked. I'll book. I'm available. I'll book full runs.
Hit 'em up, bitches.
I'll book weekends. Hit me up. Tell your venues to quit being scared. Tell your promoters to quit being scared. I put on quite a show, folks. Quite a show.
Yes, he does. Yes, he fucking does. Alrighty, guys. This has been another episode of the Chug Life Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We will be having some more shit coming out this week that's going to be dealing with the Ukrainian war and Israel and a bunch of shit, bunch of new shit. I have a big old panel, a bunch of my military friends, and some photojournalists to be coming out and talking about all this shit and giving you guys some insight, some more knowledge and info, and I hope you've enjoyed this knowledge and info. This is another episode of the Chug Life Podcast. This is Michael here with Clay, Cemetery Rapist.